Hi guys. I was not quite sure if I wanted to shoot this video regarding impetus rules, because impetus rules are very famous. I'm pretty sure that many of you have used them, but I thought that this is the latest edition. It's been released for quite some time, and maybe some of the followers of the channel haven't heard about them or haven't played them, and a quick flick through would maybe make them decide if they're interested. So impetus, of course, ancient, medieval, and Renaissance rules from Daddy and Piombo. I have to say these are my favorite set of rules. They were. It was. Let us zoom a bit so we can see better. It was the rule set I stuck with in my wargaming life, this second edition. For more years, I think I was playing Impetus non-stop for at least 6 years. It's designed by Lorenzo Sartori. He's a friend of mine. We know each other from the hobby. So just a quick flick through. I'm not going to take a lot of your time. You can see the book also. The book has some beautiful artwork. Introduction, it's basically the basing. We all know the impetus basing. We all know the size of the base. That's the reason that impetus became such, except that the rules were very good, such a huge success when it was initially released, was that it has this new big bases that you could create beautiful dioramas, and suddenly became very popular. Also here you have what you require, these types of shields. I have also created for my games. They're very nice because they don't interfere visually with the game. You know, they don't look like marbles or whatever. Beautiful, look, beautiful troops, beautiful artwork. Here we have the troop types. You know that the impetus troop names are based in Italian abbreviations. So heavy infantry is FP, the missile troops is T, heavy cavalry is CP, and etc. I think it's Cavalieri. The P is how it's protected in Italian. I don't remember. But anyway, so you have some analysis about the troops, about every troop, and the characteristics of the troops. And here we go to the characteristics of the troops. The only difference now in movement is that 2H, this H is basically half base width. Previously it was different, but now it's half base width. This VBU, this is the strength of the unit, basically, that if this goes to 0, the unit is destroyed. Initiative. This is the morale, how you say it, I forget it now, the discipline, and of course demoralization value, the VD is 2, and VBU, as I said, the basic unit value. So we talk about discipline. There are 3 levels of discipline for each troop, a good, average, and poor, with +3, +4, and +5. You roll and you pass the discipline test and cohesion test, etc. And you have the modifiers. You have the unit status, that's fresh, worn, exhausted, routed. You have also disordered and reacted. Very straightforward rules. Very well written. Here is depending on the unit value, when it's fresh, when it becomes worn, when it becomes exhausted, and of course when it's at 0 it becomes routed. It talks about fragmented troops and disordered troops with a lot of examples and a lot of graphics. That's very important. And here it explains to you what a group is and which group is it counts as a group and which one doesn't. Talking about large units, you can have large unit also. A lot of examples in the rule set. Then you're talking about the commanders, how the commanders move, shooting at the commanders when they are not attached, and then attaching and detaching commanders, and quality of the commanders. Here's how you measure the distance for the command radius of a commander. Then you have the types of commanders: genius, charismatic commander, reliable, poor, incompetent, expert. All these have initiatives and bonuses. Here you see discipline test modifiers and leadership bonuses that display important role during tests and for units to you know to make safe tests. Customizing leaders. There are some extra options that you can use. Your leader can be brave, can be severe, can be confident. All this gives the leaders a character. Here is the command structure. Every army has a command structure. Basically, is the radius of the command structure is for the distance from the leader that an army can be ordered without any problems. And of course, if you're outside command radius, you have a -1 modifier. Talking about zone of control, etc., etc., and then we go terrain deployment. Terrain deployment usually I pass quickly, because terrain deployment usually every rule it's similar with dicing and where you're going to put the terrain, and it is something I never really read in rules, because I never put terrain totally randomly, because I was playing on my own. I always like to make my own battles, and most of the time I fought historical battles. So we're talking about activation and turn sequence. Initiative, a very good example for initiative. Rallying, forced rally, reactions, evasion. Summary. Here's a summary. The rules is very well structured. The player that wins the initiative activates his units or groups one by one. The possible actions are move as a unit or a group, fire as a unit at a time, one unit at a time, excuse me, fight in melee, one unit at a time, and rally, one unit at a time. And there's some issues to remember. Initiative and activation. You have, of course, opportunity charge, counter charge, close ranks, opportunity fire, defensive fire. These are all actions that can be performed by the non-active player, while he can interrupt if it's an opportunity. This is something that was really unique in a rule set when these rules were released, and very interesting. You have actions and reactions. Charge, for example, this is, I told you it's a very well written set. Charge, you can have defensive fire or counter charge, or close ranks. Maybe you can have shield wall. Shoot, opportunity fire, so probably you can fire back if you're an opportunity, or charge in zone of control. Here is initiative and activation. These are reactions. All examples, a lot of examples. Here is zone of control. Here how zone of control works. These diagrams intend to clarify what it is meant by the trajectory that does not allow the contact with the enemy unit. In diagram 1 here, Y charges A, foiling a trajectory that does not violate the zone of control of A. So when A charges, it doesn't affect the trajectory. Diagram 2, Y enters the zone of control of A, following instead a trajectory that violates it. In fact, it slips unpunished in front of front A, hence triggering a possible reaction. So it will cause a reaction. And diagram 3, Y follows a trajectory that would allow to contact B, even if in fact it would first impact on A. In this case, there's no violation of zone of control. So very nice examples of the zone of control. So you have movement here. Let's go a bit back. Each unit can move forward up to the maximum permit speed. And these are the speed, as I told you about the unit width. You have group movement, wheeling, and other movements. And here is a movement table. Everything very well structured. Movement with mobile defenses and mistakes and pavises. Movement for fortification, and then you have charges and the charge movement bonus. This is something I like in these rules, because charges are not standard. You're not sure you're gonna succeed. Roll a 1d6, then refer to the table below to see how many additional H you can get. So the charging is variable, it's not standard, so there is a chance you're going to fail the charge. Then you have opportunity charge. As I said before, you can stop the charge of your opponent when his turn, and you can opportunity charge or counter charge. If you usually it's when you are only mounted. Here are counter charge examples. Impetuous charge, interpenetration. There is a lot of explaining. Nice, beautiful diagrams. Interpenetration by wheeling, evasion, a lot of examples here that you, because sometimes rules are not easy. Disengagement, not really easy to understand only by the written word. You have to have examples, and very beautiful. Look at this, very, very beautiful armies. These are Macedonian phalanx. And shooting here, English archers, longbowman. Here's a shooting table. How many dice you shoot for short, long, against foot and mounted. Foot and mounted is the two values. More about shooting, fire arc, fire limitations, target, indirect fire. Here you have indirect fire, that's a good rule. Another beautiful setup. Defensive fire. Troops with shooting capabilities, with exception of artillery C, can perform as a reaction defensive fire before being charged. So this is basically the last. Many rules. Hail Caesar has this. This basically is the last shot before you get attacked. You know, the last shot of the English longbowman before the French knights attack them, and you shoot usually with -1. Shooting through enemy skirmishers and artillery. And here you go in melee. Melee, and again, explanation of how melee works. The impetuous bonus you have. Large units, they have depth bonus. And you have all the details, flank support, pikes, loss of melee and retreat of the defended unit. This explains to you if the unit, let's see this a bit more detail, the unit that suffers the most permanent losses to the VBU after a failed cohesion test and not due to accumulation of disorder has lost the melee. If a unit is routed, VBU drop to 0, then it is the loser no matter the number of permanent losses taken in the last melee. If both units taken an equal number of permanent losses to the VBU, counting only those due to failed cohesion test, then it is a draw and the units remain contact until the next melee. However, mounted units that end the melee with foot in a draw may retreat 1H if they want to do so. Retreating units can push back friendly units that are engaged in melee. That's very interesting. Cannot push back, excuse me. Yes, that would be interesting. Nor can they push back enemy units. Of course, if a unit cannot fall back, it's destroyed. The pursuit, you have retreat table. Now this is a retreat table. Regarding the die roll, and depending on what troops you have, you will move 1H or 2H. And then you have the pursuit table where the opponent, if he wants to pursue again, he will roll a die and he will see if he will able to come into contact with the retreating unit and then initiate another melee. This is what I like in this rule set, that some movements are variable, they're not standard. So there is this unpredictability of if you will be able to pursue. You don't have a standard number that you know that you're going to be able to catch your opponent. You have multiple melees. This is usually with the main unit and the supporting unit. The units that have the bases the units that have more contact with each other's bases. They are the main units, and the other units with the less, let's say, of the other units contact, they are the supporting units, and they give some supporting modifiers. Multiple melees. Let's go a bit further back. Contact between non-parallel lines. Here you can have you can extend the move so you can reach your opponent, and this makes for a very interesting setup. I've played quite a few times this. You have loss of commanders, sacking baggage, and victory conditions. Now we have the explanation of victory conditions, and that's very beautiful again, very beautiful, very beautifully painted miniatures. You have advanced rules, preparation, how hidden commands enter the battlefield, when a hidden command enters the battlefield, how the other player can react, advanced rules, ambushes. You have tactical cards. That's quite interesting. There's rules how you can use tactical cards. So you can choose only one strategic card. Poor and incompetent commander chiefs cannot buy strategic cards, so you have to have a good commander. So and then you have tactical cards that you can spend part of your budget to the tactical cards. Each card costs 3 points, and you can buy, for example, 4 cards for 12 points. You can choose which cards to use before any game starts, but you cannot choose the same card for more than 3 times for the same game. Some cards can be used only once per game, as noted in the card description. So you have add 3 dice in melee, reroll a cohesion test. I like cards because they didn't used to have this in Impetus, and it gives, you know, an extra fun touch in the game, you know. Iron discipline, reroll a failed discipline test, you know, where you're failing a discipline test and your opponent thinks, yeah, that's it, you know. You can have a breakdown of your army, and then you have this tactical card. It's a very well written book and very well illustrated, again, in very beautiful units. And here's the appendix. Here, as you see, very few rules that have it. Here they have the player nades. This is the zone of control for 15 mm and the zone of control for 28 mm. Here are the measuring distance, half base width. This is for 28 mm and this is for 15 mm. Also, you have here to download this marking, so you can see how many wounds a unit has, and disorders, and also you have ambushes if you want cards for ambushes. And here you have the quick reference sheets where you can there can be a guide to you during your battle, your game. All very well detailed. Movement tables here, voluntary interpretation, explanation, retrieve table, pursue table, who can pursue. Again, all these shooting table and priorities and fire limitations. All it's very well summarized in these impetuous bonuses that you use in melee. In this quick reference sheet. It's not a sheet, that's quite a lot. Cohesion tests, discipline tests, as I said, we said at the beginning, A is good, B is average, C is poor. You attach leader and how they influence the battle. Depth bonuses, so +2 for FP with pike against mounted, so this is heavy infantry. Other melee modifiers, you have everything here. Again, very, very beautiful. Ancient Greeks against the Persians, Macedonians. It's Hellenistic, it's very, very beautiful. And then it's the Baroque rules that they have. This is the basic impetus. Anyway, and Lords of Servants. I don't know. So, this is a video, guys. I'm pretty sure that all of you know impetus rules. I've used them before. For those who haven't, just a quick flick through for you to see. The rules are, again, PDF, War Games Vault. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and bye-bye.